Okay, good evening and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Iyun to Lean On. Today we're doing Simon Kuf Pehei and Arachayim 185, Hilkos Berachos Hamazon. This Simon, I guess, is famous for one of the most prevalent tunes that we know from our childhood. If you grow up Jewish, if you grow up, at least in the modern Orthodox sphere, and maybe the Yeshiva sphere, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Hazan Hasolam. If you're familiar with that tune, a lot of tunes I'm very bad at, when I'm pressed. I like tunes to replay a tune, to sing a tune, even though my mind, I know what the tune is. It's very hard for me to actually sing it. But this one is not so hard because I'm so accustomed to it from my youth. And as I mentioned in the regular share, to this day, my father, when in my father's house when he has Zimun, he does this for the first bracha, Berkas Hamazon, he'll do it. And we'll see, actually, there's actually a reason that it makes a lot of sense, actually, la halacha, because if you're doing a zimun, technically, usually the way zimun is that three people, one person's motzi, the other two people in Berkas Hamazon. But nowadays, that we're all familiar with Berkas Hamazon, at least the first bracha, when you do a zimun, you should hear the words from the mizami, and the person who's leading the zimun should say the words. That when you, and I always thought about this when in my father's house, like, I didn't appreciate the song, I didn't like the singing. I'll tell you why I didn't appreciate it then because I felt it wasn't yeshivish. I'll tell you why I don't think it's a great idea now for different reasons. But the one consoling fact that I remember is that I remember thinking, wow, this is Eli Chachila. You go to the yeshivish places, yeshivish houses, the person leading the zimun, says it quietly. And really, technically, we're going to learn, probably next week, that really the mizami for the first bracha is supposed to say it out loud, that the other people can hear the first bracha, at least the first bracha. So at least you gain that. Now, the reason I think it's not a good idea, now it's all the source from Halacha Gimel. Yesh Misha Omer, the Balabais, and Banav, Ishto, Sarach, Levarach, but Kol Ram, Kadeshi, Yetsu, Brachaso. The Halacha is a Kolbo, one of the Rishonim. He says it's a good idea when you're with your wife and children, right? Now, the Mishnah explains the reason you're supposed to say it out loud because they don't know how to read Berkas Hamazon. They don't know Hebrew. They don't know Berkas Hamazon, so you have to emotzi them. Now, it doesn't say you're supposed to sing it. It says Kol Ram to say it out loud. Now, Baruch Atah Hashem, you could say it out loud without singing it. Nowadays, they're familiar with Hebrew. Women go to Beis Yaakov, children learn it very early, so they can say it themselves. So there's no Indian to be motzi them anymore. And when when you know a bracha yourself, you're not supposed to be yotze with somebody else. However, the Mishnah writes, it's a good, even if everyone's going to say it by themselves, it's good to say it b'kol ram. You should say it out loud. Because when you say something out loud, it leads you to have more kavanah. So that's the main reason for saying it out loud. Now, when you start singing the song, most people, don't have kavanah. I don't know. When you sing songs, usually you don't think about the words. The more intricate the melody of the song is, the less you think about the words. The greater the composition is, the malchinim. I watched the show Malchinim. It's a competition in Kol Chai music about who makes the greatest compositions of music. People send in original compositions. They judge it whether it's a good composition of a song or not. The greater a tune, the less you think about the words. People don't think about the words so much. I hardly, pay attention to the words of a song. If it has a good tune, that's the best songs, the ones with a good tune. That's what makes it a good song. It's the tune. The words help out, but, unless you're like Lipa Schmelzer, who really has great lyrics, you're not going to think about the words so much. It's just, mumble jumble. You send to Miriam Israeli. She gives you words that rhyme. No one really cares. It's all the same garbage. Jewish music, at least. Probably other music also I don't listen to. But the words are not so important in the song. The tune is the main part of the song, right? It's catchy tune. It's catchy composition. It'll be a nice thing. But the point is, when you're singing a song, you don't think about the words. So I do agree that when you say something out loud, and when you read it from a bencher, you do have more kavanah. I find personally true. When you taking a bencher helps you have a lot more kavanah. That's for sure true. And saying it out loud, that you can hear the words that you're saying, definitely helps you have more kavanah. And so therefore, singing detracts from your kavanah. The second reason I don't think it's a good idea to sing this tune, which was made by Belzer Chassid for the Belzer Rebbe. He wanted the kids to have more kavanah because he made this up for the kids, for children. If you're a child, right, you want to have a love for the mitzvahs and Birkas Hamazon, you want to have something you remember. I think it's good for kids, but as for adults, it's not a good thing because you're an adult. Grow up a little bit. Stop singing children's songs. I think it's just a general theme. People have to realize that when you reach a certain age, usually it's when you get married, and if you're a good husband and you're a real husband, you want to build a bias nemon b'Yisrael. What does bias nemon mean? It means you're responsible. That's what it means. A real true husband realizes that he's responsible 100%, 100% responsible for the marriage. Marriage, I say 100 to 0. So you're responsible for the marriage. So, that's really, you should act like a grown up and not a child anymore. Singing the song, act like a child. So you're not having great kavana. You're acting like a child. And the third reason I don't like this idea of people singing the song is because it takes too long. Even if you say the words out loud, it would take half the time. You know, and this is also in regards to tefillah. You go to some minyanim and they just, a 10-minute Shemona Esrei is just too long. I go here, and the average is an 8-minute Shemona Esrei. When the rabbi's having it's a 10-minute Shemona Esrei. 10 minutes, I was speaking to my brother-in-law, on Motzei Shabbos. He went to the later minyan, and then he just transferred after he finished Shemona Esrei after 2 or 3 minutes, like me. He just came to the earlier minyan when they were just finishing, when they were saying Kaddish after Shemona Esrei. Because why wait 7-8 minutes for them? You have to sit there for 7-8 minutes, and then all the leaders and the rabbanim say you can't take out your phone in shul and look at your phone. Well, here's the problem. The problem is that people, what do you want? People to sit there and stare at the sky, at the ceiling for 8 minutes? A normal Shemona Esrei should take 2 or 3 minutes. You say the words. You say the words normally, right? If you're speaking, we always say you're staying with Melech Malchim. How could you take out your phone? How could you do these things in front of Hashem in the Beis HaKnesses? Well, if you're speaking in front of Hashem, you don't say Baruch Ato. If you're speaking in front of a king, you do that. You go to King Charles and you say, "Hello, Your Honor, King Charles." He'll throw you out of Buckingham Palace in a second. They'll think you're crazy. They'll think you're a meshugana. Honestly, you're a meshugana if you daven like that, right? God, we equate God with the Melech Malchei Amlachim. So if you're going to equate him with a king, the greatest of all kings, you should speak like you would speak to a normal person. And even if someone's the greatest king in the world, you speak normally, at a normal pace. You don't speak like Ben Shapiro, and you don't speak like people who daven with kavana for, 100, literally like, a sentence takes a minute. It could take a bracha could take a minute. I mean, that's not normal. It's not normal, and it's not the way in front of the speaking king. And then you want the congregants who are normal and are davening a Shemona Esrei that they say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. You say normal brachas, you say normal tefillas, you just talk normally as you would talk in front of a king, which you're supposed to do. And then they're finished after 2 or 3 minutes, and you want them to sit there and stare at space for you, the rabbi, and you, the congregants who are too slow. Speed up your davening, and after 3 minutes, they should be saying Kaddish. It's not right that we have to wait. I'm one of those people that daven in 2 or 3 minutes. I have to wait there, I'm not taking my phone and check whatever I want to check, because a lot of things I check are relevant to my business, as my YouTube channel, and a lot of things are important for me to know. And even if they're not important for me to know, it's important I spend my time wisely and not just stare at space for 8 or 7 minutes. It's too much. It's not fair. So that's the third reason I think that it's not a good idea for people to be singing this, because it could take 5 to 7 minutes to sing the entire benching sometimes. So for those 3 reasons, I think it's a very bad minhag. But my father does it, but he only does it for the first bracha. So anyway, that's what I have to say about the matter. I hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.